think we're all set.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this over to our chairman of legal, Joe.
Okay. Call
Motion to go into
call the
executive.
meeting to order
Hold on,
and.
hold on.
Yep.
Gonna need a motion to go into an executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
Legal matter.
Legal
Legal
matters.
matters.
Okay, Tina, second. Marty, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We are now in executive session.
Anyone
Coming out of executive session from the legal committee, at this point, no action was taken.
Adjourned.
Welcome to the Audit and Finance Committee today. Went over this agenda with the staff a couple days ago, and looking forward to this meeting. So Linda, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We're going to start off with the statement of revenues and expenditures as of July 31st. After 3 months ending July 31st, the consolidated operating income before capital contributions and non-operating expenses is $2.6 million. Currently, operating revenues on budget were 11% over prior year and 4% over fiscal year '22. And as you can see on the bar graphs to the right, we're exceeding fiscal year 2022 in revenues. So that's good news. Operating revenues are on budget and 11% over prior year. Regular line are on budget and 37.4% over prior year due to increased ridership. Currently, it's 14.5% increase compared to prior year, which is a slight uptick from prior month. Pass sale revenues are trending over budget in prior year due to increased vending machine sales and increases in pass sales to medical answering service. This is the same trend we were discussing last month. Special line revenue and advertising revenues are trending 3% under budget and are in line with prior year. Operating expenses are $4.2 million or 14% under budget and 5% over prior year. Salaries and wages and other employee benefits and payroll taxes are 13% under budget and in line with prior year due to open positions amongst bus operators and buildings and grounds technicians. Healthcare benefits are 19% under budget and 8% over prior year, which is a change from prior month. In current year, there are 818 more claims and 8,386 more services than prior year. So this is a change in our trend from what we've been seeing over the past 2 years. Workers' comp is 2% over budget and 27% over prior year. There are 38 fewer claims, however, they are high dollar claims at this time. Pension benefits are trending 25% under budget and 4% under prior year. Pension contributions, as you know, will be adjusted to the actual report that we will receive in August, so the adjustments will be reflected in our August statement. Risk management is 17% under budget due to a credit for reduced auto GL claims in prior year and 13% over prior year due to increases in legal fees. Purchase transportation is 16% over budget and 30% over prior year. Currently, our vendors are providing 81% of the service requested. This is an increase of 11% over prior year. Increases can also be attributed to an increase in ridership, which is 22% at this time, which was unbudgeted and unanticipated in our contract increases. Materials and supplies are 11% under budget and 20% over prior year, and this variance over prior year is primarily due to increased costs of bus parts. Services are 30% under budget due to budgeted services for consulting, advertising, marketing, and engineering that are anticipated but not yet realized. Fuel and utilities are 12% under budget and 2% under prior year. Our diesel fuel was budgeted at $3.50 a gallon and was locked in at $2.98 a gallon. Other expenses are 29% under budget and 26% under prior year, due primarily to budgeted conferences and travel that is not realized at this time. Non-operating revenues are 5.4% under budget and consistent with prior year. Our operating assistance is 5.7% or $1.3 million under budget and in line with prior year. Our increased STOA has resulted in reduced need for our federal operating assistance, which is currently the ARP funds, and we usually draw that as needed for operations. Mortgage tax revenue is 2.5% under budget and 22% under prior year. The recording of the mortgage tax is trending under prior year at this time, and we've all seen that in the market. Our investment revenue is currently $301,000 over budget and $338,000 over prior year. and all of that. Just so you know, we began investing in the treasury bills in September of 2022, so that's the biggest variance over prior year. So the next statements are new. This is something we thought would be useful. It's not required for us to report by company, because we do it on a consolidated basis for you, but we thought this would be good information for everyone to understand what the expenses and revenues are by company. So this first slide, you can see the authority has a $2.4 million gain at this time. That's mainly the mortgage tax revenue.
Yeah, this part is not in your packet.
No, this wouldn't be in the packet, so it's just
Just
for
up on the
everyone
screen.
in the audience and for the board to see. As I said, it's not required for us to show it this way. And it shows the deficits in the companies like the ITC, Center of Oswego and Huga. They do not receive any of the ARP funds. So those are the companies that will have the deficits. We apply the ARP funds to CNY Centro and Oneida and Colobus. So those companies are fully funded. Any questions on that?
That's good information, the way you got that broken out. That's very nice.
We see this on a monthly basis, but without sharing this with the group, we didn't have this information. We just thought that would be something you would like to see. This also shows the revenues by company. Operating revenues, there is none for the authority because that's all MRT. But you can see the revenues most of our revenues are coming from CNY Centro. At 71%. And expenses by company, also another nice visual.
Go back one more slide, go to the previous slide. Okay.
Colobus is its own company.
Yes, our paratransit services.
But
We
by
do have
name, I assume-
paratransit in Cuga and Oswego as well, and Utica.
That's what I mean, so Colobus is in all those locations.
There is paratransit services in all the locations, yes.
Okay, Linda, you can page them. Come on. Hold on.
Questions?
This is good. Good work. Good graphs.
That's,
Pie charts, yeah.
that's Melissa.
Good job, Melissa. Little shout out.
And showing the operating revenues by company. And then the other required reports is the investment report as of July 31st. The money market, unrestricted and designated reserves are at 16 million. This is a reduction of 5 million compared to last month. And as of July 31st, we have 12.5 million in investments. The anticipated yield on current investments at maturity is 318,000. This is the mortgage tax statement. It's close to budget right now, but we are 745,000 under prior year. Melissa provided a graph here for April through July, just to show the 5-year trend. As you can see, we're still in fiscal year 24 exceeding fiscal year 20, which was the pre-pandemic year. Cash flow statement. As of July 31st, the total cash is 14 million. Invested in reserves is 15.7 for a total of 30.3. As you can see on the cash flow at the top, the $5.4 million net cash provided, that's when I said earlier that our I don't know what happened. As I said earlier, that was shown on the other slide, where the utilization of the cash was 5 million. It's okay, the presentation was done.
Okay. Questions for Linda?
Have you looked to do any additional treasuries? Because the 1.5 year and then maturities are over 5.4 about.
Yeah, I have everything invested in something at this point, so when they mature, I just keep rolling them over.
What was the limitations with the ARP grant? Was it population size on the communities that are eligible or something like that?
You meaning why we couldn't apply it to, it's because they're rural companies?
Okay.
Is there a timeframe of when the state grants, when we're gonna be notified what we're gonna receive?
Say that again?
Is there a timeframe of when we're gonna be notified what we're gonna receive from the state grants?
Well, state grants are slow coming. Is Tara in here?
Tara's in there.
Yeah. Do you want to speak to that, Tara?
The state, what happens with them, we have a yearly allocation, if you will, for ATC funds and NEP funds. They're right now a year behind in getting them, so we're still waiting on 2022.
Right.
We applied for 2023, those just went in last week, so hopefully in the next year. But those are predetermined numbers,
Right.
3.282 million in ATC and 4,000,009 in NEP. So we know what we're getting for those.
You just don't know when.
We don't know when.
And those are for 2022.
And
I know this is
2023.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, and we also get 5311 money from the state, and those go to our rural properties. And that application is actually 2 years behind. We applied for 2021 through 2023, and there's no award date yet. We keep asking, and they just haven't gotten to it yet, so, yeah, maybe by 2024, we get 2024.
I know how that one works.
Yeah, so.
Any
Did
other?
that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Linda? I want to just comment on behalf of the board. The report was great. Melissa, good job contributing editor there. And this was good. So with that being said, let's take a motion to accept the financial reports. Robert, second. Darlene, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Okay, moving on to resolutions. I have resolution, let me see, this is 2. So 3A, resolution number 2A, authorized service modification CMY Central. Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
This resolution is for the Apogee Automation Services Agreement. This contract will be paid for using operating funds and is for a term of 1 year. Over 35 years ago, Centro entered into an agreement with Siemens for software which provides HVAC controls and alarm monitoring systems at all of our locations. Each year around this time, we're required to renew our agreement for technical support services. This year, pricing was received from Siemens Industry in the amount of $54,632. The software is proprietary to Siemens Industry. Therefore, it is our recommendation that the board award the contract for Apogee Automation Services Agreement to Siemens Industry for a term of 1 year.
Yeah. Okay, questions, and my apologize, I had things, when I took it apart this week. This is, resolution 3A, okay? 2A will be dealt in the general session. Okay. Questions for Chris? For Siemens contract? Okay. Need a motion for the Siemens contract? Okay, Tina, second Monty. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Chris will stay up there for our snow removal contract.
Thank you. Yes, this next resolution is for snow removal services at our RTC location and the 3 parking lots that Centro owns located under Route 81. The contract will be paid for using operating funds. The invitation for bid was publicly let on June 19th. 47 bid packages were sent out, 16 of which were sent to minority and women-owned business enterprises. On July 11th, 2 bids were received, with the lowest responsible bidder being Elite Property Management and Restoration. There is a full 30% MWBE goal on this contract. Therefore, it is our recommendation that the board award the contract for snow removal services to Elite Property Restoration Management for a full 5-year term.
Questions? It's pretty, it's good to see the bids now and then. You can see some of the differences there.
So, what happens to properties in Oneida, Oswego?
So we do IFQs that we send out for some of those properties, and some of the B&G staff as well will do snow removal services out there.
So this is just for those,
Yes. The RTC and then the 3 parking lots under Route 81, correct?
Questions for Chris on snow? Okay. Need a motion? Neil? Second, Darlene? Any questions? All in favor? Okay, Linda, anything else?
That concludes our report.
Okay, that concludes our audit and finance committee. Let's take law 5. You guys aren't making me work this. It's pretty abbreviated. So, yeah, too bad. Okay, good. open meeting. At this point, I'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Anthony's going to lead us in the pledge this morning.
Who's Anthony? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, note that a quorum is present. Our next meeting date is September 22nd. At this point, only an audit and finance committee will be needed. I need a motion to approve the regular minutes of July 28th. Julius, second. Monty, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Mr. Schultz, Chief Executive Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Report's very brief this month. The ARP funds, as Linda mentioned, we still have about, we've pulled down about 18, just under 19 million out of 38.5. So we got a little ways to go there. I met with the Independent Living Council. It was a virtual meeting. They had some questions they wanted to talk about. An update on BRT and how would it affect Call of Us, results of the ETT survey, and what are the next steps. All in all, it was a very good meeting. I typically do those with them on like a quarterly basis. And then in addition to that, we had our usual busy stuff, SMTC, a lot of NIPTA meetings, recruiting, RPM program. Working with IBI, we have very frequent meetings with them. That's our transportation consultant, as we're trying to get the BRT and on-demand service up and running. And then Gen Fair, we meet with them frequently too, especially now with the fare box replacement. I don't have anything else unless you guys have questions.
How's your new role as chairman of the state association?
Good. It's going
Started.
good. Yep. We're actually working on our first, my first conference as president. It'll be at the end of October and into November, so. But it's looking good. We've already got more than half of the booths sold. And we got our lineup for our keynote speakers, and we got people coming in from the FTA and Commissioner Dominguez from the state.
Okay.
So yeah, it's going real well. Busy. But
When did they start discussing the advocacy for next year?
We did that a couple weeks ago. We had a strategic planning meeting with the executive committee. And then we'll continue on. We'll probably have another one shortly after the conference.
Well, I like that you're doing that, because anytime you're able to lead a statewide association and you're our person, we make sure we get what we need on the agenda. So thank you for the extra aggravation that you're taking over. Appreciate it. Good. Okay.
Any other questions? All right, we'll go on to senior staff reports. Christopher.
Thanks, Brian. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the board. Similar to Brian's report, kind of brief focus. A lot was on the state fair and operations. I'll give you an update on that, where we are now. But on myself, I met with leadership Greater Syracuse back in August 10th to meet with them and discuss the economic development, the 5 pillars of economic development, which transportation is one of them. It was a great meeting with a lot of the up-and-coming leadership groups and members of the community to just talk about our projects that Brian talks about all the time, BRT on demand, the bike and scooter share program, and how that's going and how that impacts economic development in the community, and also kind of our role in it in the future, where we're going to take that those mobility options into the future. And then just to elaborate a little further on the fare box, we're still working through the fare box install, a few kinks, minor programming things. I think we're making a lot of headway on getting those up and running and functioning properly. Possibly by our next board meeting, we're hopeful to turn on the mobile app function, which will allow you to purchase tickets and passes through the mobile app, the Go Central Bus mobile app. But we'll keep the board updated as to when we're ready to do that. And then there's one more phase after that, which would be the open payment. It'll allow credit card type payments as well. But right now, our focus is getting them up and running, getting them through the fair to make sure they function properly for that. And then we'll look at the mobile option piece. Any questions for me?
On the state fair, just can you share with the board members how many folks were moving, how we started out so far?
I'm gonna leave that to Raman.
Okay.
On the
Okay.
ops side, and let him
All right.
update the board on that during his report.
I don't wanna steal his thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be surprised based on our conversation.
Yeah, it's,
Think about how many people we move, but we'll wait, we're gonna wait, Rob.
Yeah.
I got a list of questions about two binders long.
But other than that, that concludes my report.
Chris?
Yes, sir.
I just want to thank you for coming to our meeting and bringing us up the
Oh, yeah, the TNT meeting. I also participated in the Southside TNT meeting with Julius and his group.
And actually, getting back to the NIPTA conference too, our RPM program has been, as we've reported to you, very successful here. Where Christopher and Suzanne are actually gonna be presenting the program at the NIPTA conference, so that all the other state agencies can see what we've been doing for employee recognition. Steve, you're up.
Good morning. Thank you, Brian. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. Give you an update on ridership, where we stand. It continues to rebound slowly. For the month of July, we were up overall 13%, which is a good number over the previous year. As I know Linda alluded in the ANF meeting that ridership is trending back, and ridership and revenues are rising about the same percentage, so everything appears to be going forward.
Steve, could the cost of fuel maybe be adding this, or we don't know yet? Too early to tell.
I think the fuel costs were pretty stable for us because we've purchased locked-in prices.
Fuel for the common person driving.
Oh, yeah. That's, I think some of it is the fuel, going back up, creeping close to $4 a gallon. So that certainly could be a factor in the return of ridership. Our city ridership is now about a solid 65% of where it was pre-pandemic, which is up about 5% from where we ended at the end of the last fiscal year. So we're still trending in a very good way from the core ridership. You're starting to see fuller buses on the road, which is nice, fewer empty seats. So that's good. It may require us to make some adjustments going forward, but it's good to see people back on the buses.
It's gonna pick up, right? School starts back.
Yeah, when school starts back up, support personnel tend to ride buses as well, not just the students, so we'll see an increase. We see an increase in September, we see a decrease in May, and in June, when support staff are no longer riding. It all. I'm hopeful that we have seen some weeks where it's been about 70% of pre-pandemic levels. Hopefully we'll get to that number maybe next year. So we'll got my fingers crossed that ridership will continue a slow but steady incline.
And we're not alone there. That's pretty consistent. As I talk to my counterparts throughout the state or even the country, to be in that 65-70% of pre-pandemic is where most agencies are.
And when you consider we only have about 70% of our service on the road in Syracuse, we're actually running more efficiently than probably we were operating pre-pandemic, but we're not carrying as many people. So we've made the changes we've made have been strategic, and that kind of leads into my next point. In your packet, you received a summary of the public comments from the public hearing regarding the service reductions that we implemented back in September of 2021 due to the bus operator shortage. We've received a lot of feedback, mostly from social media and our customer feedback lines. It's pretty basic. People want to see an increase in frequency of the bus routes that they need. The public hearings were sparsely attended. Not a lot of feedback. I think people have adjusted to our current routes. But, you know, all we really can do is look at resuming and increasing services where, you know, when we get bus operators and in greater numbers, and then make some strategic additions to the services that we provide.
I thought you did a good job. I attended the in-person evening session. I liked your presentation, and we gave the public the opportunity to come forward, as you had a virtual, you had in-person various times, so I think you and your team did a good job with that.
Thank you, thank you. We had stations set up so as people came up, you know, for about an hour, we chatted with them prior to the actual presentation, and it allowed them to ask questions, not only of the service reductions that had occurred, but what's going on with our system redesign and all the other special programs that we're moving forward on. So in your package is also a resolution that really is a unique resolution that states that, you know, we accept that the service levels are, that the board accepts that the service levels are what they are at this point, and that we will make our best efforts to resume and increase services as human resources dictate.
As you review the resolution, any questions for Steve? I'm going to be asking for a motion. Okay, so let me just, since we got it on the table, resolution 2A, service modification. And I liked how you put in the summary on the bottom regarding the modifications continue until more bus operators can be secured. And I know that's been a challenge. With that being said, need a motion? Luella, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Also, you may have seen that we're going to resume and try service to the Hancock International Airport after Labor Day. We have, you know, it's a combination of a lot of factors. The airport has reached out to us. They need services for their workers, the workforce. Some of the feedback we received from our Exploring Tomorrows today, that is the one location that's really it's the top location that service is requested for that we do not serve. And also from anecdotal information, stories from bus operators telling us that they receive a lot of requests from individuals in wanting to go to the airport, and some individuals who are using our bus services that are close to the airport, getting off the bus and walking the rest of the way. So what we did is we took a close look at how we could serve the airport in an effective, efficient way. We decided that we would do some rerouting of our Mattydale SY-84 bus service to extend it to the airport for all trips. There were some areas, some small deviations that were not generating much ridership that we're going to be eliminating to straighten the bus route out, to get it out to the airport beginning on Labor Day.
Is there any impact with it seems like there's more airlines coming into Hancock right now.
Yeah, they've expanded. They're now 2,500 workers at the airport. The last time that we tried to provide bus service, which really was based on 4 workers, there were not nearly that many employees out there. So they have grown, they've expanded, and they need the services. And we're able to add this bus service to the airport without adding any additional personnel. It's just a rerouting of an existing bus route, the same number of trips a day. It will work from about, the first trip will leave the hub about 5:30 in the morning. I think it might be 5 o'clock in the morning, arrive at the airport at 5:30, and then the last bus will leave the airport at 7 p.m. It's 13 round trips a day. It's not hourly. It's not as frequent as I think some individuals will like, but we think it's good coverage for the workforce specifically. And we probably will get some individuals who will use it to get out of town, but not a lot. We've talked about this before. Bringing your bags, you know, from a bus stop on the Solvay line to go to the hub and transfer to get to this bus to go to the airport. It's not something that we think a lot of people will do. There may be some individuals on that bus route in Mattydale who might be going out of town. It's just a simple walk out to the street and grab it and go up to the airport. That might work for some individuals. So, you know, we're hopeful that this service will work. It's a test program.
Yes.
We are going to do it for 6 months, then we'll evaluate it. If we determine that it will be a permanent service, then we will have to have a public hearing because of the service change to this route. I will tell you that I'm pretty optimistic that we're gonna get an increase in ridership from the stories that I've heard from bus operators and from the anecdotal stories from individuals who work at the airport. I think we're gonna have a good product here.
Another question on, this could be either for you, Brian, or Chris. The Micron, we're still at the table with all those discussions?
We are, they're
We are.
ongoing.
Okay.
It's, you know, they've reached out to us, they have some questions about what types of services we can provide. I don't wanna go into too much detail.
Okay.
But we're having ongoing
What's the,
discussions.
do you know what the employment they're looking at say when they peak? What are they trying to employ?
Well, full employment's 9,000, but that's 20 years from now.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we'll all have to be driving.
Well, they're, you know.
But getting there, I mean, you know, they're looking at between 2,000 and 4,000 construction workers and.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Good.
it's coming.
Good.
It's gonna really impact our community in a positive way.
I think the point about the service to the airport is good. We at the city receive a lot of questions about airport service. It pops up every once in a while, but I think structuring it around employees is wise, especially given the way that airline operators function now. A lot of those are subcontracted out, the guys doing your baggage and stuff like that. Those are entry-level service workers now, so kudos to you and your team for getting service back out there.
Thank you very much. Any questions for me? Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to Bren at this point. She's gonna give us an update on our special projects.
Thanks. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I wanted to give you an update on a couple of our hot topics, our hot projects happening right now. Our Rome on-demand service. As you know, Mobility on Demand will allow shared rides. So the idea is using smaller vehicles, booking ahead of time, up to as close as, you know, a half an hour in advance, and looking at a specific time frame. We're going to roll it out at first in the community in the city of Rome. And when we're looking at Rome, we're looking at their whole system as a whole. How do we make it most efficient? How do we balance fixed route with on-demand? So that is going well. That process and that research is going well. We have the RFP for software that was released this month, and proposals are due on September 14th. So in a couple months, you'll see some more information about the software vendors that we are considering. The public meetings in Rome, we've had a couple stakeholder meetings with the community stakeholders, and our next step will be a roadshow to some senior centers and some public meetings to really give customers and the community more of an overview of what we're planning, some options to help us decide some smaller details in the program. And again, it's gonna be fixed route and on-demand, both being integrated and making more sense to be efficient. We know that 40-foot bus may not be the solution to all transportation projects, so problems. So that's what we're working on now. So the rollout is scheduled in Rome for March of 2024. We're on schedule for that, which is
When we
great.
met a couple months ago with some of the leadership here with the mayor and her team, seemed to be well receptive, and I like how the leadership here is piloting something like this. I think that's a nice size city to pilot something like this.
Yeah. We haven't done a system overview in Rome, I think, since we took them over. So it's good to be looking at their whole system, and you're right, they're a good sized community to start this in. Then in 2024, hopefully in the fall, we'll look at other communities, a couple other smaller communities to move forward with on-demand. We don't want to wait, we want to keep that momentum going, but we also want to use Rome as our example to see what's working and what doesn't work, so it will be even more successful with the rollout of the other communities. Secondly, I wanted to talk about the project management process. So to give you a brief overview, in our upcoming projects, we have identified over 80 capital projects in the near future that have an estimated cost of $65 million. So y'all have been here longer than me. You know that in the past, we've been more reactive. We've had a lot less funds to work with, and so we've balanced and made it work with moving money around, and finance and the exec team have done a great job with that. It was no small accomplishment. Now that we have more funding and more projects in the queue, we want to be a little bit more proactive in the process of project management. So we are working through the capital planning committee. The capital planning committee is headed by the finance team and has the executive board, among other folks on it. And they're really looking at how we're spending our money, what projects are needing to happen in what order, prioritizing, and all of those things. So as we're moving through that, we're also building our project management process so that we know, our project needs to start an initiation, then go into a planning phase, then an execution phase. There may be changes along the way, and then our closeout phase needs to include several elements that give us best practices for our next projects. So we've built a procedure and we've started implementing it. We've started training with our project leads and our capital planning committee, and it is going really well. I think we are getting good feedback, and again, I think that the more we train our folks to move projects forward, the more we can communicate with each other and with you how things are going and things don't get stuck. So that is the goal. The goal is really on task, on budget, and on time. I put a little sign in my office, and I might start, saying it more often: on task, on budget, and on time. Those are our goals. So that's what we're doing with our project management process. And we're also looking at some basic project management software. Our folks are not project managers by trade. They have other jobs, and the project management is becoming a bigger element.
Anthony?
But
Is there a reimbursement factor to our capital projects?
Well, most of that's grant money.
yes.
Federally, state, and locally
Yeah.
funded. We have a local piece.
There's some pieces in there that are like 80-10-10. There's others that are 100% state dedicated.
So we're talking about 65 million, we're not talking about.
No,
No.
Just making sure.
That's us out
I should
begging.
have clarified.
That's-
A lot, that's why lots of times you'll see, when they're 80-10-10, 10's at local share, that really
Perfect.
does impact
Okay.
us.
Yeah.
Good.
So-
Much more doable, now I'm excited.
Good.
Yeah.
So this project management software will help you all see at a glance as well what we're talking about from a little bit further out perspective. So as we choose and implement that software, you'll see more updates from a global level, from a board perspective, as to percentages of projects we're moving forward, where funds are coming from, again,
Yeah.
federal, state, and local, but a small portion of local. And I've also been reaching out to other PM professionals in the transit world. It's nice in transit that we're not trying to undercut each other, that we're all on the same team no matter where we work in public transportation. So I've gotten some great examples from other communities, larger communities that have procedures and processes in place already, and so we're really taking advantage of all the opportunities we have to make our system work better. So stay tuned, you'll see more of that as we continue.
Good job, Brad.
Thank
Good
you.
job, Steve. Good job.
Any other questions for Brent? Great, thank you. Jeff?
Thank you, Brian. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the board. I'm going to bring to you 3 projects they're working on. Last month, we had talked to you about the CNG engine. It went out for repairs. It has now come back on Tuesday. They brought it in. It was just as challenging to bring it into the building as it was to bring it out of the building. They've got it in place, and they're doing laser aligning today. So they're going to get it hopefully operational by the end of today, and next week it'll be running. With that in mind, this is just a work in progress. That one's done. Extends the life of it by 12 years. And we'll be replacing one of the engines with a electric skid, which will compress the CNG to 3,600 PSI, just as the other 2 will. So it's a work in progress. We'll keep you posted as this keeps going along. After the fair, we are going to be having Patricia Electric come out here and decommission the public fueling station. This is on the Cortland side. It hasn't run since, I think it's 2018. Nobody's actually come out there and used it. Very rare that anybody would. I think the city would come out and fill up there, yeah. So they're gonna decommission that for preparation of the electric service coming through. They're gonna be putting in 3,000 amp service in addition to a 1 megawatt backup generator. And the 3,000 amp service can be upgradable if we need to in the future for extra electricity. And this will be for the future in addition to supplying electricity for the rest of the building. We've ran out of electricity on this side, so we're gonna bring it over there, make it easier to bring it to the building. And last but not least is the dispatch room, or the driver's room. Unfortunately, with supply chain issues, it's been delayed. We've got countertops coming in, stainless steel, edge molding. The furniture was delayed. It just showed up today. We can't put it in just yet. So there's a lot of things we're gonna be looking at. Contractor's coming in next week to have a conversation and find out where it's at. We're really anticipating that it's gonna be completed by the next board meeting, so everybody come down and check it out. Other than that, that's all I got. If you have any questions.
Good job, John.
Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. Jackie?
Morning, everyone. Central hosted a wellness fair this past month. We had the fair, you can see there's a listing of participating vendors that we had, over 20 that participated. We held it over in our garage by door 7 where we host the RPM numbers. This is the amount of tables, vendors that we had set up, the employees that attended. We had over 100 employees and some retirees that attended the event. It was very successful. The vendors were really happy and excited. They're looking to come back next year to participate. The employees, we got great feedback from on how well the information was presented to them and the amount of questions that they had for the vendors that they answered. So it was a successful event in all. Our payroll staff was there to answer any questions that they had. Chris, I was gonna say, these are 2 of our retirees. One is still working for us, one just came in to come to the event, to probably see everybody out there. And these are the winners that we had. We had a lot of winners from the raffle tickets. We gave away $30 grocery vouchers to some of the winners. Kiesha Mallory up in the corner got a day off. Russ Newsom, I don't know why I slipped on that. Ross Newsom won the Fitbit. And if you see in the lower corner there, Kevin Moore, he is one of our operator trainees that just started with us. So he has just turned in part-time, and he was one of the ones for winning the grocery voucher too. So we had a lot of participation in the event, and they're looking forward to it coming back next year. We are going to be organizing one for Oneida in Rome. This is gonna take place in October. So once we have that all scheduled, I'll let you know about it. But I would like to say a huge thank you to both of my associates, Amanda Wilson, the HR representative, and Stacy Sorbello, my HR representative from HR. She's been here, she's fairly new, only been here 3 months, and she organized the whole event. Basically getting all the vendors and getting the employees involved in it. So it was great. The next thing I just have on the list is we're gonna be hosting another open house on September 9th from 9 to 12. Marketing is going to be advertising this next week. You're gonna see ads, commercials again, posted about the event. We're hoping to hire a number of operators for our next class, which is gonna begin in October. Again, we're going to have in the J-Lot, people can come and drive our buses, and we're also going to be hosting on-site interviews for anybody that already has their CDL permit. So we're hoping to get a class of 20 plus out of this event, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. Any questions?
Monty, you can come down and take another shot at it.
One more time.
Yeah.
Put it on the agenda.
I got faith, Monte.
How many drivers are we down now?
Well, we're, to where we were in March, we have 145 full-time drivers right now.
Pre-pandemic, we're short about 40
Yeah.
full-time operation.
Yep.
Fluid.
So it's, yeah.
Much better.
I mean, we hire them and then we lose them. We have retirees coming up. We have at least probably 6 operators that we know that are gonna retire by the first of the year.
Someone that day was probably recruiting some of your drivers also.
No, we're actually losing them too.
We
That's
shuffle
what's
them
happening.
around, first student to us to
Yeah.
SU to the city.
We fire them, they come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, unfortunately, it's just, yeah, it is. It's been an uphill battle for us and we're still attempting to,
You said 140 full-time?
145, yeah.
How many part-time, like half part-time?
We have probably about 40.
Yeah, 45.
Yeah, I
I
was
think
gonna say.
the sign up in September was 45 part-timers.
Is that what people, just an idea, is that what people want part-time, or is it something we can do to have them drive?
It's a combination
Make it a
of
full-time.
all of that. We're looking at some ideas.
You know
Of
what I
course, we
mean?
have.
If we can line things up that they can be full-time.
Some of the part-timers are full-timers that retired and
Got
came back
it,
and continue
okay.
to drive.
So that's probably what they want.
Others are, I can only work 20 hours a week because of my family situation.
Got it.
And they can
Okay.
now pick and choose that 20 hours rather than being on,
Yep.
certain runs.
Understood.
Is that for all? Is that
This is just
Syracuse?
Syracuse location.
Yeah.
That's not the
And
other
keep in mind
properties.
too, to get back another 40 operators and get us to 185, we'd be able to bring back the service the 30% that's not on the road that Steve was talking about. But that doesn't count, working through on-demand and BRT. So, the real number is we need another, 60.
No, you need another, like,
65.
110.
Yeah.
Well, but between people leaving and things
Yeah, I know,
recycling.
Yeah,
it's
and
just.
the starting base pay, Jackie, it's just south of 60, right?
Yeah, it's 2460 is what our operators start at.
From an annual.
They're 2160 in the class, and then when they turn in, they go to 2460. And it goes up to 2840, I wanna say,
27.
2740, okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, no, I
Any
don't have,
questions,
unless
Jackie?
any other questions. Thank you.
That's good, thanks, Jackie.
Raman, you're up.
Thank you, Brian. Good morning, everyone. So operations continues to work on and make progress on previously announced initiatives, including process improvement and SOP development. But we've basically had 3 major focuses over the last month. The first, as you can probably imagine, is the fair. There's a lot of fair prep over the past few weeks, very labor intensive. The whole Centro team really came together. People from every department are involved in making the fair happen. So far it's going very well. We're on day 3. We've transported about 10,000 people so far. And we're looking forward to probably a pretty busy weekend. On Wednesday night, the concert, as you probably read about, was very, very busy. Yesterday it was a little bit less busy because of the weather, but fair is going well so far. The other focuses over the past month, second focus was getting ready for fall service. SU coming up to full service starting next week. The next week after that we have school starting, so it's going to be pretty busy, and we've been gearing up for it. And then the last major focus has been on also on schools, but the bus monitor program. We had very good success with the bus monitor program that started late last year. We only hired about 5, but they made a great impact on the routes that they were helping out on and at the hub. So we are really ramping up our efforts to hire. We're hoping to get to about 10 bus monitors, which would give us coverage on most of the major school routes as well as at the hub. We've also received great feedback from the drivers who have had bus monitors on their buses, and you know, their focus is driving. They should be operating the bus and not really focusing on the kids in the bus. So it's been really effective having those bus monitors.
So you're working well with the school system?
Yep. That's correct.
Anthony, anything to add on all that, the monitors and all that?
Again, it's very similar to the bus drivers, where you're just swapping people. Like, we're looking for a lot of teaching assistants, and this is competitive, so you're just finding people that go different directions. So it's just a matter of management and trying to get people in the right places.
So you're short too, school district?
Without a doubt.
That's all for me. Any questions?
Good job, Robert.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
And then Bruce couldn't be here today, so pinch hitting for him is Bob Bonai.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, President, Board. Basic notes from Bruce here to add, and I've updated a few things. Over the past month, myself at Denell, one of the big upgrades we had to do at Denell was upgrade our Cisco phone system. That went off without a hitch. It was a long overnight project. It also mainly upgrade the paging, the phone recording systems. It caused some problems with the system backups that had to go to actually Cisco, the Technical Assistance Center. That's all been resolved. Everything's working good. We're just continuing to work with GFI on some minor probing issues. As Chris stated earlier, that there's just been a little bit, but that we're kind of tweaking some issues there with it and all there, but overall it's in a good state and moving in the right progress. We had a kickoff meeting for the Trapeze, which is our operation software at that they're going from version 18 to 21. It's a very extensive project. The vendor says it's going to be about 9-month timeline based on previous. We don't think it'll be that long. There's a very intense process for it with some of the changes in the back end with some server builds and stuff. They had a cybersecurity briefing, and the big thing talked about was disaster recovery, business continuity, and a lot of the major things targeting executives with email security at the end of there. So there's more in coming months at the end of there. So they're trying to work on how to protect our company at the end of there from some of the things that you can see emails and you wouldn't know whether they're fake or not without really being able to do it. And it's caught a few people off guard and caused some issues. Right now we're working on working with Verizon, trying to get some final quotes at that now there to give internet access to all the drivers in all of our locations. It'll be a separate, almost like a hotspot type of thing that's off of our network, so it doesn't affect. So drivers that are here, they have their break room with that all there, they have laptops, whatever else, they can use it and stream and not use their own phone or video data like that and all there. So that's in progress. We're looking at other agencies that all there for more effective and better email security because of the issues that we've had from the all there. So that's still out. We're checking that out. We continue to set up new PCs. Revenue collection and storm were just completed. Utica main office and the transfer hub are being worked on now and setting up. They're also getting new monitors. A lot of their stuff has been they're on the lower end of all there, so there's a big change. So it's getting out there, working with all the different users, and a lot of setup for it. And then the last thing's on the horizon coming up. We actually, in our server room, we have our main core switch that runs our entire network. We're adding a new blade to it. It's a 10 gig blade, which most things are 1 gig. We're going to 10. It's going to make the whole thing a lot better, and we're going to rewire and clean up a lot of the cabling in the core thing. So it may take some downtime and some weekends at that and all there, whatever else we're working on. It's a very huge project. So as things go by on that and all there, we'll keep you updated on it. That's it.
Thanks, Bob.
Questions?
Thanks, Bob. All right, Mr. Chairman, that concludes our executive staff.
Okay, moving on to Audit and Finance Committee. As we know, this was all discussed in detail in committee. Linda gave a great overview on our financial position, which is strong, from cash flow to investments, expenses, We all expected the mortgage recording tax to dip, so that's nothing that's surprising. And I think on behalf of the board, for the record, I just want to thank Linda and Melissa on those reports on how they were set out, structured out there. It made it very easy for the board to understand. With that being said, a motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval for the financial report. May I have a motion? Well, a second. Tina, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Resolutions. Resolution 3A. How do you say that again, Chris? The Apogee Automation Services. Chris gave us an overview on that. In that resolution, staff recommends payment to Siemens in accordance with the service agreement for Apogee Services for 1 year. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. May I have a motion? Okay, Julius, I saw that hand go up. Second, Darlene, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Resolution 3B, Chris also came up to discuss the snow removal services. Recommendation was made to award contract to Elite Property Management for a 5-year term commencing on October 1st. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. May I have a motion? Neil? Second. Robert? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, that was all we covered in finance. Now at this point, we did have a legal committee report. Joe?
Certainly. The legal committee met in executive session to discuss the specific case this morning. No action was taken.
Okay, any old business?
No, sir. No, sir.
Any future business? Okay. I want
in the future.
Okay. I want everybody to have a great Labor Day weekend coming up. I appreciate your service here. We had a full board today, and just we keep moving here. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
UTA degrees.